Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think I've already went through my bio. I am running to attempt to follow a legend, Florida's 13th. My political career is now in its 18th day, so I'm especially grateful to Tiger Bay Club, everybody who came to this assembly. I did go to the Naval Academy and chose Marine Corps Aviation, and for the consideration of an education, the people of the United States had me obligated for 5 years of military service. I stayed for 12 because I was enjoying it so much and people were so good, I thought it was worthwhile. I did transition. I spent another 21 years in the Marine Corps Reserve, became an airline pilot, was interested in the law always. My wife Jackie attended law school, practiced a little law, but mostly I've been doing pro bono law as well as flying as an airline pilot. I'd like to bring 3 points from my candidacy, and that is to return to what the purpose of government is, how the government and wealth relate to the people, and fiscal spending, and more importantly, accountability and fiscal spending. And the first, I think, the most important thing is to realize the federal government was created by the states to do what the states wanted the federal government to do. And that's an important relationship on who is serving who. And why did they do that? Because 13 states needed a common to print money, common defense, foreign policy, and a post office. As James Madison tells us, the powers of the federal government are few and all are enumerated. And think about those powers. They were singular in their purpose and their goal. Print money for the economy so business people could have a vibrant economy. Post office so there would be communications for trade. Foreign policy to make sure our international markets were available for businessmen and businesswomen in the States. And common defense. Because if you didn't have to worry about your common defense, the entrepreneurial spirit of free people, they're going to do everything necessary for society. The education, the health care. The government's job was to be in support. That's what I spent my entire Marine Corps career doing. I was an aviator. My customer was the infantryman. If I couldn't support the infantryman on the ground, I didn't have a purpose. Number 2 is, what is wealth? We need to remember that the federal government has no capability to create wealth. Zero. Only the people can create wealth. And the government's taking powers. Be they taxes or writing debt. To give $1, they must first take $1. And my platform recognizes that reality. Over the last 50 years, our country has migrated to a belief that Washington, D.C. is somehow Emerald City. That you can go there, you can get money, and you get disconnected, that it all has to come from the only source, and that's our state. And if you do travel to Washington, D.C., and you go to Emerald City with an expectation, it's really just the man behind the curtain. They can't give what they first don't take. And lastly is this. Maybe the most important thing for our republic. For the first 124 years, up until about 1913, there was consequence for spending money. The framers made the lower house run every 2 years so they'd be the short leash. So that if they're spending your money, you can say, you're coming back to be a taxpayer and stop spending my money. I don't like the way you do it. That migrated in 1913. There is no longer political consequence, and I would use the example of Florida's budget. Look at today what's happening. The administration has a budget of about $74 billion, wants to trim $100 million. Other parties are saying, no, we need to build $1 billion more. But think about that margin. It's less than 1.5% from what the budget is. And why that is because you can't read an article on the floor budget without the concept of taxes. How's it going to be spent? So that has the political reality that the framers wanted, a political consequence at the election, that you're going to have to think about that. If you look now at our federal government, politicians don't talk to you about how they're going to spend it. Because the 16th Amendment changed that, and that's how it changed it isn't important enough. Now, what can I give you, and leave out the part of how I'm going to pay for it, because that's where the debt's going straight up. It's unsustainable. Coming back to the purpose of the federal government, these regulations, these taxes, these takings, and this debt is a crush on our economy. That's my political platform. Thank you. ago, I volunteered at the Public Defender's Office, mostly Little League. I really re-engaged with my family because there's a lot of ways to serve your community. In my deployments overseas, we're in a sense serving my community. That mission is now complete in that service. That's why I'm here now. I want to serve my community because when I drive around, I see vacant storefronts. I see businesses that aren't there anymore. I think there's a consequence of how the federal government is treating us and how our local economy is reacting. That is my goal for my future service.
Helen Riley, where do you stand, sir, on immigration reform?
My position on immigration reform, I'm a process guy as a lawyer. I like to wrap myself in the law. I think our laws should be respected. I think a person that's in our country illegally should go through the legal process to come. I do not believe that amnesty is a good way to go. I'm for enforcing our laws and having people respect our laws.
Yes, what do you stand on the Affordable Health Care Act?
Yes, sir, the Affordable Health Care Act. I do not believe the forum of the federal government is a proper venue for anything outside the enumerated powers. I think the framers wanted 13, now 50 states to be in competition, and market forces would have the states do the better. The result of market forces would have the states do a better job, and not just in health care, all of many of the cabinet, the education, everything would be better off here at the local level. And more importantly, for a dollar that we send to Washington to come back for health care in the 13th Congressional District doesn't look like a dollar when it comes from that process. I think we can do better here, spending our money the way free men and women of liberty want to, rather than how the federal regulation thinks it should be. Sir?
I'm Gregory Wilson. Given how our health is rated across the world, how do you feel that the Army forces have done with respect to providing us health care?
So I think that's a great question. I think it's pretty easy to look. Everybody I know, and I travel all over the world, tries to get to the United States if they can get health care. There are models of where government runs health care, and I don't know too many people trying to get to North Korea, Albania, Yemen, Cuba to go for health care. And I'm worried that if we start doing government health care, it'll diminish the quality that we have.
That was 4 minutes for his Q&A. I would like to let you do a 1-minute wrap-up closing statement.
Yeah, I can be faster than 1 minute. The reason I'm running, it says conservative Republican. I don't think that exactly. I think I'm a conservative in relative terms. I'm actually just somebody that believes that the framers were onto a good idea that's migrated away in the regulations, taxes, and debt. We can change the helm of the ship of state of the United States to bring us back where we can have better job growth and economy. In my view, the Republican Party is now offering the voters a choice between big government and bigger government. I don't think that's a choice. I think we've lost our way. I'm coming back to actually have a distinction that I want to get our entrepreneurial spirit back front and center, put the government in support of making the conditions for us to run business. Thank you.